Okie doke. I am very curious how this is going to look because new camera, going old school. Hang on. Going old school. I have no clue if I'm even in frame. I'm hoping I am. Hang on. Take it to the mirror. I am. Good. Mirror, my standing mirror. It's right there. Hi. This is definitely just a test. I want to see how the digital camera works because my phone has been annoying. Let's just say that. My phone has been very annoying lately. So, fingers crossed, this looks somewhat decent and sounds good. Okay, I have no clue if the mic is even being acknowledged. So, if this still sounds the same as the test, then I know it isn't even being acknowledged. But I thought it'd be a fun test because this does have the little plug on the side for, well, the proper plug, I guess. But hopefully this is being picked up. I don't think it is. I don't remember if it's supposed to be blinking or not. Maybe? Yes? No? And we're just testing. Testing to see what works. Okay, so apparently this is actually really good. Granted, fixing the audio up in post, but this camera works very well. Hi, welcome to another episode of Write With Me. I don't even remember what episode this is. I know last time I got the number wrong. Hang on, let me go into my YouTube. Because I don't remember what number this is. Because I said it. Okay, episode 6. Episode 6. Because I remember I got the number wrong last time. So, we are on episode 6 of Write With Me, where I take you along with me on my writing journey as I work on my multiple books because I'm an indie author. I do everything myself. And, yeah. As you can see from my lovely chart, everything is on drafting, aside from that one that I need to completely rework. But yeah. Yeah, I think needless to say I have plenty of things in the works at the moment, and I'm very excited for all of them. So, hello. As you can see, I've got my iced coffee. I did have my phone plugged in, but right now I don't like leaving that plugged in while I need to charge my laptop. Don't ask. It's personal preference. But I am working on one of the many stories. Right now I'm working on this one, which is a YA fantasy and very, very much like traditional YA fantasy adventure. Very Labyrinth meets Wizard of Oz kind of vibes. So don't think like, when you think YA fantasy, don't think like romantasy and all of that. Think Labyrinth. Think Labyrinth. Think Wizard of Oz. Think Alice in Wonderland. Think those vibes. So right now I am on chapter 2, and I'm working on the transition into the fantasy world. It's very much a story about finding yourself and figuring out how to get unstuck, in a sense. So this is going to be very, very, very interesting. So far, it's been a very, very refreshing project to work on. Because my other project that I'm working on is a slasher thriller, which I printed up what I had of the first draft in hardcover because I wanted to test out the different types of, well, publishing sites. Because this was Lulu, and I had 2 printed because Lulu initially had an issue with their ordering system, and this was Barnes& and Noble Press. Honestly, I kind of like Lulu's quality better when it comes to the spine, because look at how that cracked. Like, look at how this cracked along the spine. I'm not the biggest fan of how that looks. Meanwhile, look at how just, like, it was essentially, like, pre-bent. Like, it was prepped to be opened. Also, it's a lot more centered, which is very interesting. But, yeah. I might just use Lulu for the hardcover version of Dark Pine Tales of Terror, but this is my next actual project that I'm aiming to get out this year, although this one might end up beating it. But this is a slasher thriller. This is a YA fantasy adventure. It's it's understandable that this would be a bit of a refresher and nice break from the slasher thriller and horror stories. Because even with the rework of this lovely book right here, The Collectors, which is now going to be called Hidden Magic, the first of 3 books. So working on the first one. Even that one, while it is fantasy, it's more of just traditional fantasy. I mean, I guess anything magical realism in a sense. Part of me kind of wants to go a bit like dark academia with it, but we're just gonna see where it goes. Because I do want to get some horror aspects into that. But for now, it's a lot of like darker stories, and then this is like the fun, bubbly story that I get to explore. But so far, I'm enjoying it. It's weirdly cathartic because the story is very similar to something I went through as far as the real life aspect of it. So it is a little cathartic. But I do also feel like it's a good transition into the fantasy world. Okay, so later in the day is what time is it? 4:49. 4:49 in the afternoon. And can we talk about my book Dark Pine for a second? Because I recently updated the interior. Hang on, let's get the last author copy I had out. Here we go. And if we flip this around, Dark Pine Tales of Terror, the cover is still the same on both. This is the updated version. This is the older one. This is just barely, it's like just the slightest bit thinner. And that's because in the original interior had the spaces between each paragraph. Granted, a lot easier to read, but not typically how books are formatted. So I went in and fixed that. I also fixed one minor grammatical error that was bugging me. When I noticed it, I had to fix it. So, this is the updated version. Fixed the table of contents because swapping the line spacing, or at least getting rid of these spaces after each paragraph, changes where each one lands. So I'm very happy to say that the updated version is now live. In other news, something else I have recently done is go over to my author site and hit blog. I now have a new blog site. I have 2 new posts up. Return to blogging. And if you hit blog, so we're going to be posting more of the posts about my projects. So while I don't always film like this, I will be occasionally blogging, given some status updates on these lovely stories. So yes, that is something I have been working on. We've also updated the preview for the zine because issue 3 is now up on my Buy Me a Coffee. So, Buy Me a Coffee. Don't know if it's gonna... Okay, can I get it to do focus on a zoom? No. Okay, so it's just gonna be a butt. Okay, new camera, still figuring that out. But, issue 3 is up. It's free to get. So, also, it does have a tracker like this, but it has one for reading. I think it also has the writing one, the projects one, and I do also have a bit of a sneak peek that you can print out. I have the first illustration in there as a printable poster. So that will... The illustrations for the... where did I put them? For the hardcover version of this you know, that first one, this one, is available as a printable poster. Also, yes, this is one of the next ones I'm working on. Yeah, it's been a pretty productive couple of days, especially since getting better after being sick for a good week or so. Actually, I should probably talk about that because I spent a good chunk of January sick. So a lot of my writing and stories and books and illustration work was basically put on hold for a good week or so. I got a hell of a cold, and right now I'm pretty much mostly better. It's just the congestion that is slowly working its way out of my system. So, for the most part, I am back to normal. I am back to writing. As you saw earlier, I was working on one of my books. I spent time a few days ago working on the chapter outline for There Can Only Be One, which is my slasher thriller. Have all the problems I was dealing with worked out in that. So I started reworking that, and it's been fixed in a way where I can still recycle some of the stuff from the original draft while working in the new changes and tweaks to the story. So yeah, a lot has been put on hold this month because you can never really plan when you get sick. It just happens. I'm not sure how well it's gonna capture it, but it's another foggy night. Definitely not as bad as The Sin, but it is definitely starting to look like Silent Hill out there. It's either that or gets in context with me being a writer, maybe on the lake. I don't know. But I mean, as someone who likes to write horror, I guess it's good inspiration. I don't know.